What is JavaScript's execution context? Imagine you're in a busy kitchen, cooking a meal. Every time you start a new recipe or step, you set up a workspace to keep track of ingredients and tools. JavaScript's execution context works in a similar way. It's the environment the JavaScript engine creates to run your code smoothly. When your script begins, the engine creates this environment to manage everything happening in your code. Think of it as a container holding all the information needed to execute a specific part of your program at any moment. There are two main types of execution contexts, global and function. The global execution context is created when your script first runs. It's like the main kitchen where everything starts. It represents the global scope, meaning all variables and functions declared outside of any function live here. Then, whenever you call a function, a new execution context is created just for that function. This is like setting up a smaller workspace inside the kitchen for a specific task. Each time you invoke a function, its execution context is pushed onto a stack called the call stack. When the function finishes, its context is removed, and control goes back to the previous context. JavaScript is a single-threaded language, so it processes one thing at a time. The execution context works into phases, creation and execution. During the creation phase, the engine sets up memory for variables and functions. This is when hoisting happens, which means declarations are moved to the top of their scope so you can use them before defining. It also builds the scope chain, which is like a map of where variables are accessible. In the execution phase, the engine runs your code line by line. It evaluates expressions, runs functions, and assigns values to variables, all within the environment set up earlier. The call stack is like a to-do list that keeps track of which functions are running. When you call a function, its execution context is added to the top of the stack. When it finishes, it's removed, and the previous context resumes. This process helps JavaScript know where it is in your code at all times. Every execution context has an environment record that manages variable bindings. The global environment record holds global variables and functions. Inside functions, the environment record keeps local variables and parameters. When a function needs a variable not found in its current environment, JavaScript looks up the scope chain, moving outward through outer environments until it finds the variable. This process allows inner functions to access variables from outer functions, creating what's called a closure. Understanding how execution context works is key to mastering JavaScript. It explains why variables behave the way they do, how hoisting works, and how functions can access variables from outside their immediate scope. When you write code with nested functions or asynchronous operations, multiple execution contexts come into play. Knowing how they are created, managed, and destroyed helps you write clearer, more predictable code and makes debugging easier.